In this video, I'll be going through some annuities examples from HSC Maths Standard. Before we jump straight into examples, I just wanted to cover some basics. First off, the definition of an annuity is a regular contribution of money into an account. Now, I've also written the formula for annuities in that blue box, and I suggest that you copy that down because that's not on your formula sheet. So most annuities questions will either be asking you to work out the future value or to work out the contribution, and you use that formula to help you out. Most annuities questions will also give you this table of interest factors. What you need to remember is that your interest rate is at the top and your number of periods or your time is down the side. Okay, let's look at an example from last year's HSC. Just pause the video to read through that question. So the first thing you should always do is write down the formula that I have in this blue box. Then read through the question and make sure that all of your units are the same. So if you look at your interest rate, we have 1.5% per annum, compounding monthly. Because we're compounding monthly, we need to change all of our units into months. So first let's change this interest rate into a per month interest rate. Per annum just means per year, so there are 12 months in a year. So to go from a per annum interest rate to a per month interest rate, we just divide by 12. Put that on your calculator and you'll see that you get 0.00125. Find that in your table and highlight that. You want to do the same for the years. So we're told that this is over a 30-year period. We need to convert that into months as well because everything needs to be in the same units. So there are 12 months in a year. So in 30 years, there'll be 360 months. And highlight that in your table as well. And now you can see that your interest factor from that table is 289.75411 because that's where both of those numbers meet. Okay, now look at what the question is actually asking for. This question is asking how much the monthly payment is. The monthly payment is the regular contribution. So they're asking you to find the regular contribution. Look at the formula and let's start subbing into the formula. So first we need to work out what our future value is. For this question, the future value will be $500,000 because that's the total amount of the loan. That's what this person needs to pay back in total. So $500,000 is our future value. Our contribution is what we're trying to work out, so I'm just going to let that be X. And the factor from the table was 289.75411. Now you can just solve this like normal algebra. So just divide by 289.75411 to the other side. And then put that on your calculator. When you put that on your calculator, you should get an answer of 1,725.60. So that's the answer for that question. Okay, let's look at this example next, and we're going to do the exact same thing. So again, the first thing you should be doing is writing down that formula that I have in the blue box. Then you want to read through the question and make sure everything is in the same units. So your interest rate is 5% per annum. The contributions are $3,000 and they're made at the end of each year for 5 years. Everything is in years, so they're all in the same units, so we don't need to change anything. Now highlight 5% in your table and 5 years in your table, and you'll see that your interest factor is 5.5256. Now look at what the question is asking for. This question is asking to work out the value of the annuity, which is asking for the future value or the total value of the annuity. So we're trying to find future value, so I'm going to let future value be X. Our contribution is $3,000, they told us that in the question. And we know that the factor from the table is 5.5256. Put that on your calculator and you should get an answer of $16,576.80. So that's the answer to part A. Let's look at this final example. Again, just pause to read through all of that. The first thing you should be doing is writing that formula that I have in that blue box at the bottom. Then you want to read through the whole question and make sure everything is in the same units. So here we're told that the interest rate is 8% per annum, compounded quarterly. If they're compounding quarterly, you need to change the interest rate to per quarter. So there are 4 quarters in a year, so you're going to do 8% divided by 4, and that'll give you 2% per quarter. You also want to do the same thing for the number of years. So we're told that there's 6 years. In 1 year, there's 4 quarters. So in 6 years, there'll be 24 quarters. Then you want to highlight both of those numbers on that table. So find 2% in that table and find 24 in that table, and that gives you an interest factor of 30.4219. Then look at what the question is asking you. This question is asking us to find the future value. So I'm going to let X be the future value. We know that the contribution is $550 because that's what it says in the question. And the factor from the table is 30.4219. Okay, put that on your calculator and you should get 16,732.05.